Good evening, friends. It's Anna. I am here with a very short empties, but it's still good considering how little of the week I was home. I was home for a very few hours on Sunday since I last recorded. You guys know my Sundays are always full and busy with church. I was home for a very few short hours on Sunday to have wax, going. And I do keep the warmer in my bedroom going pretty much 24/7 if I'm home. But still, I just ran what was already in there. I think I did change it out Sunday night, but then I let that go all day Monday and Monday night. I did not change. I did change, but I did not finish things in here in the library or the bedroom. Then on Tuesday morning, I got up super early and I went to work with my mom. She actually had a doctor's appointment before, and then we went to work. And at the end of her work day, I then went to my grandparents' house where I stayed Tuesday night, Wednesday night, and Thursday night, and the majority of the day Friday. So what wax I left in my warmers when I left on Tuesday morning was old and used up. But it sat there Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, and most of the day Friday, and was not turned on, which is good because it wouldn't have had scent anyway. As soon as I came home Friday, I did put wax in. It went for just a few hours, and then we were actually back at my grandparents' pretty much all day today. We were doing Easter with them because tomorrow we will get up and we will do our Sunday morning Sunday school and church service just like normal. There will actually be a sunrise service for Easter, but my family, as much as I would love going to those, and I do love going to those, my family refuses to go, and since I don't drive, I'm stuck. I can't go. Any other time that there's something that my family doesn't want to go to that my church does, I have other people in the church that I don't hesitate to reach out to and ask them to give me a ride. But for a sunrise service where people already have to get up earlier than normal and bring more stuff than normal, I just don't feel right about asking someone else for a ride. So I don't ever get to go to sunrise service either, which I absolutely hate. But anyway, we will have our regular Sunday school and our regular Sunday morning service, and then we will be done with church for the day. Easter, we do not have an evening service because my pastor understands that a lot of families still have get-togethers, which is good because we actually will go to Lawrenceville. We'll drive over an hour. It's close to an hour and a half in traffic to my dad's side of the family, to his sister Patty's house, where we will have Easter with them, which is good, but it's always emotional when we're all together because in almost 5 years, none of us have gotten used to getting together and my Nana not being there. So it's going to be an emotional day. I just know it is. And Easter's hard for me anyway because of my Dusty. So it just is what it is. But anyway, we weren't home very many hours today. Now, when we got home from Grandma and Grandpa's, I came in and I turned on my wax warmers, and you can see my pink cast right here behind me. Right back here. Oh, I hate this thing's backwards. So let me see if I can get it. You can see. But anyway, right here on to my left. So I think it would be your right, because I think it mirrors the in the camera. Behind me though, you can see my pink cast with spring pack glowing, and over on my bookcase over here is my breast cancer warmer. You guys have heard me talk about it before. They both have a carrot cake scent in them, and I cannot remember who it's from. I put in carrot cake because Easter weekend, and normally I only talk about Empties, but because it's a special weekend and I have very specific plans, I am telling you what I have going. I have carrot cake going, and right now, don't ask me the vendor. I don't have the bag over here. So, but it was a gift from Lori Hanson. I have a whole bakery bag. So, I'm just barely putting a dent in that. Not even really putting a dent in it. Because I actually took one piece out of the bakery bag and cut it in half and put it in both warmers in here. So I've only used one piece of that. In my bathroom, I have a tester of sparkling yellow, which was in the catalog for a couple of seasons. I don't believe it is available anymore. It was also a special limited time release in the Chase Rainbows collection. It was the yellow bar from Chase Rainbows. And when they brought it to catalog, they renamed it to Sparkling Yellow. I have a handful of those testers from when it was in catalog. I've got one of those going in my bathroom, which you will see. That is in my Empties. And then, because I do have it right here with me, even though it's not empty, I will show you. In my bedroom, I have one cube of this Sassy Girl Aroma. This is Myers Returns. And this is black licorice, marshmallows, and sugar cookies. And you're like, for Easter, black licorice? Yes. And Melissa hates, honey, oh my gosh. When I turned it on again, I started crying again. Thank you so much for sharing such a treasured blend with me. She has an emotional attachment to the black licorice note in Myers Returns as well as I do. And for me, it is an Easter scent because my Nana always put together a platter, and my Aunt Peggy has carried on the tradition. And so we will have the platter there tomorrow. Thank God we will have the platter there because it'll make it feel like Easter. Nana would do this platter and she would fix it up. She always had a brightly colored little plastic, just Dollar Tree platter. And she'd put some of the Easter basket grass down. And then she'd put a lot of little chocolate eggs, the Hershey's chocolate eggs, and the Palmer's peanut butter. She would have some of the Reese's eggs, but she'd use the Palmer's ones that were foil wrapped too. So we'd have the peanut butter chocolate eggs, the Hershey's chocolate eggs, and just the milk chocolate. We would have the Palmer's chocolate coins that would have the bunnies and the carrots and things on them, and some of those had peanut butter in them too, I think. She'd have those laid around. She'd have a few of the Reese's Easter eggs. And then she would have jelly beans and Peeps, the marshmallow Peeps. So in that jelly bean mixture, there would always be black licorice jelly beans, which black licorice is very strong, and you would smell it. When you walked up to the platter, you would smell the black licorice. And then the marshmallow Peeps, you would smell the marshmallow and the sugar So this, to me, smells just like Nana's Easter candy platter. So I have that going in my bedroom. Now I will say, one brittle cube, and this is the second night that I've turned it on. And because it's in my bedroom warmer, which is an element warmer, it did go all night long. So, truthfully, I'll get probably 18 or so hours out of one brittle cube of Myers Returns. That is how amazing Julie's wax is. Oh my gosh. And I can tell it's lighter. I can very much tell it's lighter in my warmer. But it also went from about 8:30 last night until we left the house at 12:30 this afternoon. I turned it off. I turned it back on. It was like 8:30 when we got back home. I turned it back on. And I can tell it is getting lighter, but it will definitely go for another night to get me through Easter weekend, as will this carrot cake. So now let's talk about the 2 testers and the 1 wallflower that I have that are empties. So on Sunday and Monday, I had a tester of Now and Zen in my bathroom. And then when I came home yesterday, I put in this tester of Sparkling Yellow. These are the 2 testers I've done. They're both clean enough. I'm so proud. They're both clean enough. They're going into Brother Jim's bag. I took another bag and delivered it to my grandparents today. So these 2 will start Brother Jim's new bag. I also, just a little Scentsy plug, I replaced a bulb for my grandma. Now her warmer is not a Scentsy warmer. She's had it for long before I even knew what Scentsy was. But she was complaining her bulb had died and she couldn't find a replacement. And I said, it's probably because my grandpa didn't know what he was looking for. Things like that are getting hard as he is progressing with his relatively new Alzheimer's diagnosis. He'll be diagnosed a year this July. So these things are just hard. But I said, I told her, I said, I have plenty of bulbs. Because if I get bulbs with party rewards and things. If I have extra rewards credits, I always redeem for bulbs, because you never know when a customer is going to need a bulb replacement. So I just make sure I have bulbs. So I told her, I said, I'll bring you one. And we put it in today, and she didn't know. She was like, I don't think it'll work, because my warmer's not a Scentsy warmer. But it screwed in perfectly. I checked. Hers was also a 25 watt, so I took her a 25 watt bulb. And even though her warmer was not a Scentsy warmer, our 25 watt bulb will fit any 25 watt warmer, is what I've discovered. I was able to give her a new bulb today. Yes, typically I should sell my bulbs, but long story, y'all, the reason I was with my grandparents was yes, I stayed longer than I needed to in order to visit with them some too, but I went over there to do a secretarial job that I try to do about once a month and help stuff receipts from my uncle's ministry. The tax receipts they send out for people. And just for churches to have their records for their tax exemptions. I help with making sure those get in the mail. And that's what I was over there doing. My grandpa always insists on paying me, even though I love every minute of it. So he always gives me a gift card just somewhere afterwards. So I just decided I would just give Grandma the bulb, because then that would make me feel like he paid me just a little bit less. And now, okay. Anyway, now that I've rambled on about that, let's talk about the wallflower that I had replaced right before I left. I replaced the wallflower in here. And I put in, I can't even tell you what I took out, because I read these when I put them in, and then they go for weeks, and these are gone. But what I have going in here right now is strawberry melon, which is fresh strawberries, crisp honeydew, and sweet red apple. This is beautiful. We leave on a cruise in 3 weeks. And this is giving me such tropical vibes. Like, I've got planned all this stuff for Easter weekend. It's beautiful, and I'm loving smelling it. But as soon as we get through Easter tomorrow, I'm back to all things tropical for the next 3 weeks, because I am so ready for our cruise, and I cannot wait. And smelling all of these waxes, oh my gosh, all these vendor waxes I've been gifted. It's been so fun to be able to channel all the tropical vibes as we've led up to this cruise. And I know I have other goodies coming while I'm gone, and I can't wait. So I'm just, to all of my Round Robin girls who are anxiously awaiting me leaving on the cruise, so you can spoil me. It's going to be such a treat to come home to so many birthday presents. But in the meantime, I'm loving every minute of my tropical wax leading up to the cruise. And while I was with my grandparents, I had my Scentsy Go, and I had my pods with me in hibiscus pineapple. But because pods go forever, those are not in empties. And like I said, normally I don't even talk about things that are not emptied. But because this was such special stuff, I did go ahead and discuss everything tonight. And now this video is becoming long, so thank you for bearing with me and all my rambling. If you are here and you heard me say this was going to be a quick empties, and it's definitely not quick. Thank you for bearing with me. Until I see you again, my friends, please remember that I love you. And please, have a blessed day on purpose.